Good morning, Cece Cheney here, and today we are talking about 3 F words that are holding you back in business and probably in life as well. So, I thought that this would be a very interesting topic. Does anybody relate to ever being really, really excited about something? You're learning something new, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is the information that is going to transform my business. Right? And you get so excited and you're like, yes, I'm going to go do that thing. And then when it's time to follow through, you stop. Right? Does anybody relate to that? Hey, Jason, thanks for popping on. Right? I don't know about you guys, but I shared with you that I had been to a conference about almost exactly a month ago. If I check the dates, I want to say today is exactly a month away from a conference that I went to. And hey, Shanika, thanks for popping on. I went to this incredible conference, and I got a crap load of information thrown at me, and it was inspiring and it was moving and it was this incredible experience, and I had all of these ideas about how I was going to implement in my business, right? And I came home, and guys, I'm not going to lie to you, I took action, right? I take action every single day. But I had a coaching call with one of my mentors last week, and I learned that that's not necessarily always the case, right? Not everybody comes home from these events or reads that book that's transformational and applies it, or does a training and applies it, right? And so I started thinking, what are some of these things holding people back from taking the action necessary to build their business, right? It's totally relatable. Shanika, thank you for sharing that. Right? And so I decided that we should talk about this a little bit, because I told you guys my personal mission is to really see people win in business. And so let's talk about the 3 F's that are holding you back in your business and probably in life as well. Does anybody want to guess what some of those F's might be? Feel free to share those in the comments. I'm aware that some of you guys are going to be catching this on replay, but go ahead and play along. Let us know what you think some of the F's that are holding you back might be, right? So the very first F is one that I think we all kind of relate to, and that is fear, right? Does anybody relate to being a little fearful about moving forward sometimes, right? So as human beings, I think most people would say that we're creatures of comfort, right? We want to stay in that nice, safe, comfortable space, right? Does anybody relate to that? I posted a quote on my page this morning about this very topic, and that is that we want to be comfortable, and the unknown, right? That future goal, that future self, that future thing that you want in life, that is scary. It's uncomfortable, right? So moving towards something that is going to pull you outside of your comfort zone is something that will stop you, right? So one of the things that we see a lot when it comes to fears, we see people starting to make excuses, right? I'm going to tell you guys this. You guys know this about me. I am living in Central America, right? I don't live where I grew up. I'm a Texas girl, right? But I'm living somewhere else. And that process of picking up my life and moving somewhere else, guys, that was scary. Right? That was taking me out of my comfort zone. I live in a place where nobody speaks the language. I was a homeowner. My husband and I sold our home. We sold our car. We completely changed our lives. We picked up and moved to a new place with just 2 suitcases and our cats, right? That is scary, right? But we moved past the fear because the idea of finding some sort of different lifestyle was so important to us that was more important than the fear, right? So this is where we talk about our whys a little bit, right? This is why we're working towards, right? So getting past that fear that's the first F. It's one of those things that holds us back, right? Anybody? Okay, Shanika says fear of the unknown. Yep, right? Like being big in business, like we all say we want that. How many of you have seen people all over your social media feed say, I'm killing my business this year, right? I see it all the time. This month is it. This 6 months is it, right? This quarter, I'm taking over. But sometimes we don't have the follow through because it's uncomfortable, right? It's uncomfortable coming online and getting in front of you guys when you've just had a workout and you're sweaty, but you got to do what you got to do to grow your business, right? So here I am again with more examples for fear, right? The second F is failure, right? Anybody relate to failure getting in the way, right? Fear of failure, right? Those two combined have been a huge block for me in the past, and it's something that I have had to work through as well. Now, the thing with the failure is that because we don't want to fail, sometimes that keeps us from trying at all, right? I want to be huge in my business, but if I fail, what will people say? What will they think? How much will that suck, right? How much pain am I going to experience? How bad is that going to be, right? Nobody wants to fail, right? The second piece of that is if you do try, right, you don't want to fail a whole lot, right? So maybe you have that first failure and you quit, right? Maybe you quit at failure number 5. Maybe you quit at failure number 20, right? But you haven't continued on in that process. And what we know about failure is the path that we take to success, right? I told you guys that I did a half marathon many moons ago, right? And when I did that half marathon, what I did in preparation was I did other races. My very first race was a 5K, right? 3 miles. And that was a failure. It was a miserable failure. It had iced over in Dallas and the area was dangerous in my opinion. And I didn't want to run and hurt myself, right? And so I completed, but it was not some raving review. Old people and young people and every people beat me in that race, right? It was a failure. But I had made a commitment, not only to myself, but with my friends, that I wanted to complete this race. So what did I do, right? I continued on. I journeyed on. I moved past the failure. I failed some more. I failed some more. I failed some more. And then I completed the race. And that's what we have to do in life, and that's what we have to do in business as well. So moving past that failure is so important. Does that make sense to you guys? You see what I'm saying there? Does anybody relate to this idea of fear of failure keeping you back from your goals? Okay. So the next F, the final F word I'm going to share with you guys. There were a couple other ones I was thinking about sharing with you guys, but the third F word that I want to share with you guys is forgetting, right? How many of you guys live your life, right? You get really pumped and excited about things, and then life happens. Life does not stop, right? Things come up and you have fires to put out and there's all this stuff going on, and you simply forget about the goal, forget about the mission, right? I went to this conference. We had like 17 speakers. Like, how could I possibly remember 17 people's worth of information, right? I had my journal with me. I took copious notes, but there was no way I was going to remember every piece of that. And when I got back to my business, right, there were some pieces that just don't fit for where I'm at in my business yet. So those are things I had to let go. Those are things that were forgotten. Does that make sense, right? So sometimes we forget about the goal. We forget about where we're going, or we forget about the tools that we need to get there. So what can we do about that, right? The first thing I recommend, write those suckers down. What are the things that you are working on? What tools did you learn in that training, in that book, from this Facebook Live, whatever that thing is? Write them down, right? Journal about them, process through them. You want to keep your goals and your resources and things top of mind, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to be reminding yourself constantly, behind this phone taped to my wall is some tools, some resources that I use for my business. So when I sit down at this desk, I see them every single day. I shared this with somebody on this page before, right? I have this information right here, so it's always top of mind. So you want to make sure that you have those tools top of mind. So write them down, post them somewhere, journal about them, make goals around them, review them weekly, right? We talk about weekly activity goals, right? So when you're setting your activity goals, Set the goals around implementing those processes that you want to put into your business, right? So that is what I'm talking about. So instead of forgetting, we're going to figure out some ways to remember. I hope those tips were helpful. If they were, if that provided some value, let me know, right? So as you are working on your business, as you are working on your life, as you are in whatever part of the process of your journey, make sure that these 3 F words are not stopping you. Don't let fear, don't let failure, don't let forgetting stop you from getting to where you want to go. That's my message for you guys today. If you need support, if you'd like some accountability so that these 3 F words are not getting in the way, check out the link in the description, and you can get some support in that way. But other than that, if you got some value, feel free to share this with your friends or your team. And as always, shoot me a message or leave some message in the comments, and we can chit chat about some of these topics. So that's what I have for you guys today. I hope you have a wonderful day. Ciao.